Well, the Trump campaign is working hard to make sure voters in North Carolina help him get reelected. The president's rally in Winston-Salem last night was the president's third trip to North Carolina in the past 3 weeks. And Vice President Mike Pence, Don Jr., and Eric Trump will all be holding events there as well. With us now is North Carolina Congressman Dan Bishop, who was at the Trump rally last night. Congressman, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Sean. Glad to be with you.
Good to see you. The last poll I saw has Trump up 2 in North Carolina, 49-47. That's pretty much tracking how he did in 2016, where Trump won the state 49-46, so about 3 points. So that seems in line. Where do you put the race right now in your state?
I think that's probably about right. I think the president's at least that much. My guess would be that it's there are 2 or 3 more points on that lead. And I think more important, Sean, than the lead number is the trend, and I'm getting it everywhere I turn in North Carolina, the president is surging.
That's great. Congressman, you were at the rally last night. It was another raucous event full of energy and people. The media went nuts, right? They were like, this violates all this, all these local ordinances and what happened. The president said, oh, it's just a peaceful protest. And Kayleigh McEnany reiterated that today in the White House briefing. What do you make of how that went down?
You know, Sean, one of the things that's been slighted over the course of several months is the importance of the process that we're engaged in. These are the elections for the governance of the country, top to bottom. And the media have always given a pass to fiery but peaceful protests, to use the phrase on CNN, and the president's just not having that. These are important First Amendment activities, and I can't think of any more important than these.
That's right.
You know, or Congressman rather, maybe one day, an article just came out in Politico that said suburban women hold balance of power in swingiest of swing states. In North Carolina, GOP strategists see an opportunity in the uptick in unrest stemming from the protests and for racial justice. You know, the president has been very strong on his law and order message. Do you think that this is going to help get more suburban women? He struggled with that last cycle.
Yeah, Lindsay, you know, I'm in a district, the 9th District of North Carolina, that very much has significant urban, suburban areas of major cities, Charlotte, which I live in. And I think it's right. I don't think it's a question of protests. Everybody's fine with protests. It's riots and arson and looting and a criminal surge in city after city that Democrats have been unresponsive to. In fact, they've encouraged it. President Trump has said it clearly. He wants to arrest rioters and prosecute them. Democrats want to appease them. And yeah, the suburban women, like many others, are concerned about safety and security. So that's going to work well for the president.
You know, if I can turn the corner to another subject, last night, the president talked about his ban on drilling off the coast of Florida. Let me play you that sound.
I will sign a presidential order extending the moratorium on offshore drilling on Florida's Gulf Coast and expanding it to Florida's Atlantic coast as well as the coasts of Georgia and South Carolina.
Congressman, there's 2 things at play here, right? The political piece of this, which is protecting the coast and for voters, especially in a swing state like Florida. But then there's the other thing that the president talked about last night, which is that we are now energy independent. Do you think that those things jive? Can we be energy independent and be banning drilling off the shores of so many of our state's coasts?
Well, I think one of the things that President Trump has always done well is make adjustments that are called for that might depart from a particular line that he's on. So, but his trademark contributions on the issue of energy have been making America #1 in the world on oil producer and maintaining our global position #1 in the world on natural gas production. Energy independence, as you say. So he eased the Obama-era regulations and paved the way for drilling in the Arctic. But perhaps this is a departure from that needed by the preferences of the voters in Florida. I think it's fine.
You know, one of the biggest issues this election is going to be the coronavirus, and we're seeing many businesses and individuals really struggle right now waiting for this next stimulus bill. It's become so political. Here's what the president said about it yesterday.
They don't want to make a deal because they think that if the country does as badly as possible, even though a lot of people are being hurt, That's good for the Democrats.
But as president, shouldn't you take the high road, sir?
I am taking the high road. I'm taking the high road by not seeing them. That's the high road.
Hello.
All right, I feel like he's being a little smug there, Congressman, but is this the right approach to not speak with them until they actually have a conversation?
You know, Lindsay, we had 5 major pieces of legislation culminating in the CARES Act, all by bipartisan action. Democrats have laid down the line that they're not going to cooperate. The president would know when they're ready to reverse course on that. Senate has come forward with a Republican proposal for a reasonable, a great recovery package, which is what we need now. Particularly liability protections for businesses so that they have a certain environment in which to function. The president's right. Democrats appear to have decided as a political matter they're not going to cooperate in another phase of coronavirus relief, hoping they can get an electoral advantage over that. It's contemptuous of the American people.
Congressman, the so-called skinny bill in the Senate really just gets down to making sure people get more relief. The bigger act, that the Stimulus Act, is in the House. There's a lot of common ground between what the House has put and what the Senate. Why can't you guys just come together, take what's agreed upon, and just pass that at least?
Well, that's a great question, Sean, and that's exactly what I think Republicans have been asking about for months now. But Democrats want the whole enchilada or nothing. They want to give massive boons, massive amounts of money to governments, to state and local governments, to bail them out of historic problems, to have a lot of unrelated things. I think that's exactly what we should do, is go forward with a compromise piece of legislation, addresses liability for risk for businesses, adds another round of PPP funding for folks who need it, and some individual relief for those, some more modest supplemental unemployment insurance benefits and the like. The president's doing the best he can to work around their intransigence with an executive order, but yes, we should have a compromise piece of legislation that it would be a good recovery package.
It seems to me that so much of what's in the House bill is just them throwing money. There's another $10 billion in it for the post office that says they don't need it. So I wish you well. I hope we can find that compromise. Thank you again for joining us, Congressman.
It's a pleasure being with you both. Thanks.